Hello and goodbye, Season 8. The Golden Knights go down with a whimper, 127 scoreless minutes against the Edmonton Oilers and Stuart Skinner. 127 scoreless minutes. That is the story. That is the season. That can't happen. It just can't. It's unacceptable. And it's a huge problem that we have to figure out now. Did they run into an issue that was unable to do it inside of a 2-game sample, and that's disappointing, and there were injuries to different players and the captain's unavailable and there's guys banged up and all of this? Or was the third highest scoring team in the regular season kind of a mirage? Kind of a bit of mirage. Little bit of a power play merchant team. Little bit of getting unbelievable scoring from unbelievable places, and then it doesn't come through in the biggest moments. Brett Howden on the back door. Need that one. I know it hopped. Maybe he got a stick on it. Whatever. Need that one. Need that one. Right? Jack Eichel. We need one. We need one. William Karlsson, Riley Smith, great series. We need one. Right? Pavel threw some shots at the goal. You need a goal. There's a lot of guys. Tomas Hertl, scoreless in the series. Pointless in the series. Howden, Barbashev. A lot of them, right? Pointless in the series. Like, we went through this. We've been through this a couple of times. This is not new. This is not something new for teams that get eliminated in the playoffs unless you're the LA Kings, right? Not many teams get bounced out of the playoffs feeling like, wow, we were great offensively. Like, that's not really how it goes. So I understand that. And I'm not trying to kind of say, like, the sky is falling and all. Like, that's not where I'm at. That's not where I'm at all. Like, I want to make it abundantly clear that, okay, this season is over. Did I think this team was going to win the cup? I did not. When the postseason began, I did not. Okay, I picked it on my bracket because you guys will yell at me if I don't. Right? But I did not. I believe that there were holes, that there were red flags with this team. Now, one of the strongest red flags, and one that I will talk about throughout many portions of the rest of the next 5 months, is that since December, the middle of December, the Golden Knights played 14 games. 14 games against the best teams in the Western Conference. That's Edmonton, LA, Colorado, Dallas, and Winnipeg. They played 15 games against those teams. No, I think it's 14. 14 games. They won one. That was game 3, in which they scored with 0.4 seconds left. Okay? 1. That's a concern. Because, yes, you can go, what was it, 15-0-2 or whatever against the dog shit that's in the Pacific Division. Okay, great. And that will allow them to hang another banner up here over me. But those aren't the ones we want. I purposely face towards the banners for this reason, because that one is there. That one right there is there. And that one's not going away. So remember that anytime you get super pissed off about how this season ended. Trust me, it sucks. I get it. Everyone's favorite TV show is done until October. That blows. That is why we get so mad. That is why you're on the edge of your seat, right? That's what makes this so great. That's why we love this shit. Is because it could come to an end out of nowhere, and no one knows how it's going to end. Maybe we had an inkling going into the season, even going into the postseason, that it might end like this. I didn't think it would end like this to this team, but all the banners, There's only one that matters. There's only one that anyone gives a shit about. There's only one that you should care about, that I know the players care about. There's only one that matters. And all the focus that ended up being put into, we got to get that Pacific Division. We got to get those extra home games. They went 0-3. A lot of hand signals for me today. 0-3 in this building. Great. So great that we had home ice advantage. Didn't win a game in this building. Went, what was it? 2-4 in this building in the playoffs. Not good enough. You're right. You're right. I shouldn't overstate the Vegas Born banner. You are correct. That banner is phenomenal. That banner is just as good as the other one. All right? I agree with that. Overstate by me. However, it comes down to the question of how do we get better from here? Because Bruce talked about it this morning, and I thought it was such an important point and moment in this press conference that we're going to be looking forward to for a long, long time here. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get some treats for little Rupee with that super chat. I appreciate it. The Edmonton Oilers are not going away. The Edmonton Oilers are the oldest team in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they're going to change. The Golden Knights are an old team too, or at least the most important players. The guys who play most of the minutes are the older players. You look down the lineup and it's like, well, Cole Schwindt played like 5-6 minutes today. The guys, lower in the lineup are the younger guys. The guys in the older of the lineup that are going to play more outside of Jack Eichel are a bit older. Pietrangelo, McNabb, those types of players. But the key point is here, you can dominate Anaheim, San Jose, as they are still shit. You can dominate against Seattle and Calgary and Vancouver, right? They didn't even have a good year against the Kings. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens against the Kings. Hard to say, right? We'll never know. But we do know that the regular season against the Kings was shit. Wasn't good. Okay? So in this division, you beat shitty teams more often than other teams beat shitty teams. That doesn't mean nothing. I don't know, double negative. That means something. That's what I'm trying to say. It does have meaning. So it's not to say that this team is garbage or this team isn't close or this team can't do it. Look it up. There's like $10 million of cap space. There are ways to rework this roster. But the simple fact of the matter is that it is going to continue getting older. The most important players in the most important moments are going to continue to get older. The next time they will play an important hockey game is 11 months from today. We're a long way away from that. Guys will be older. And a season where they were fairly healthy fell apart in the moment where it couldn't. And that's a question. Are we going to be healthy enough? Are we going to be able to withstand what it takes and eventually to be better than the Edmonton Oilers? Because the Edmonton Oilers, they may win the cup this year. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're better than Dallas. That's going to be a story we're going to look at forward as well. Okay, I don't think they're better than Dallas. I do think they're the best team in the Pacific Division because they just won it. Vegas is going to put a banner up there. Next year, October 8th, whatever it is, we're going to put a banner up there. I don't know if they're going to unveil it or just have it up there. I don't know. But that's what's going to happen. There's going to be another banner. But they're not the best team in the division. When the games mattered, and part of the game is understanding when the games matter, right? The Golden Knights have done a good job of that in the past. People have gotten pissy about it. I've kind of gotten pissy about it. But the rules are the rules, right? So in this situation, there was a pretty strong focus on winning the division. And it was useless. It meant nothing. I guess it got you a nicer matchup against Minnesota. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, would this be worse if this happened in the first round? I guess, sort of. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it. We're never going to stop doing the videos here. And I agree. It was not a bad season. In reality, it might be the best regular season this team's ever had. Like, take out the craziness of what we thought was going to happen in year one. This team was more consistent than that team. This team won more. This team scored more. Maybe they didn't win more, but they scored more. They did a lot of good things. But they didn't beat the best teams. They fell flat on their face offensively in the biggest moments. They dealt with injuries at the wrong time. Everyone can have their own opinions on that. And in the simple fact is probably this. Did Vegas ever actually ratchet the intensity up to where they needed to get to? I don't know. Maybe game 6 I felt it a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. The answer to that is yes. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, because I've talked to the players. I just talked to Alex Pietrangelo. I just saw William Karlsson in the locker room. I saw other players walking out. Just because their name's on the cup already does not mean they don't care. I do not believe this has anything to do with desire or hunger or heart or whatever bullshit term we want to come up with. I don't believe it has any of that. But what I do think, thanks for the Chocolonely. Yeah, I will buy a Chocolonely bar. They're delicious. Thanks, Dustin. I don't think that they ever got there. And I think part of that is because the chemical makeup of this team, the style in which this team was created, was to be dominant down the center, right? That was the goal. Against many teams in the NHL, that worked. Against Minnesota, it sort of worked. Eventually, they had to take one of the centers and move him up to the wing. Shout out to Bruce Cassidy. Amazing decision to make that happen. But normally, against most teams, that works. The problem is, against this opponent, it didn't. Draisaitl, McDavid, Henrique, Janmark, they might be better. They probably are better than Vegas's 5 centers. Against LA, they might have 5 centers that are as good, if not better, than Vegas's. They're very good. So to build yourself through that and feel like here we are in a position where we can beat anybody, that may not have been the case. You can beat most people, many of the teams, but this team, to me, despite the fact that they finished, 3rd in the NHL in the regular season in points, they were 3rd in goals scored, they were like 4th or 5th in goals allowed, all of the statistics told you this is a team that can smack anybody. But then you play a series against a team like Edmonton, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl had a combined 3 goals. 3. There's game-winning goals from Adam Henrique, from Kasperi Kapanen, from Zach Hyman, right? I don't remember who the other one was. The depth of this team lost, plain and simple. They have the answers to slow down great players. They showed that in this series. There are many elements to this team that are exciting, that are fun to think about. They have a good decor. How good? How good? You end up holding Edmonton to 0 goals over 67, 66 minutes, whatever it was. That's pretty good. You end up holding Connor McDavid pointless in the final game. Leon Draisaitl might have got a point on the game winner, but most of the way, they were pretty darn good. But at no point this season, at no point was this ever the best team. Never. And that's something that sets them so far apart from the 2023 team. When that team needed something, they were able to morph into it. When they struggled against 6-on-5, they were morphed into an awesome team in front 6-on-5. When they needed a hero, Jonathan Marchessault typically stepped up. When they needed to be awesome in transition, they started getting out in transition, used their speed. Guys like Carrier and Stevenson, Amadio, these types of players that offered some speed and offered something along the wings that weren't necessarily there. Defensively, they had more pieces. They had more options. They had more ways to play. They could move the puck. They could play in their own end. They could chip out. They could skate out. They could move it out. This team, partially because of the wingers, and I'm not going to get off of the wingers because that's what it was. Why did this team lose this season? Depth on the wings, speed on the wings, ability to play 200 feet on the wings. Eichel plays 200 feet. Carlson plays 200 feet. We can probably get into hurdle at some point, and maybe I will. I don't know. But the defense was not as consistent, both in front of their goal and breaking the puck out of their zone, as they were in 2024 and in 2025 or 2023. They just weren't. And what's scary is the fact of the matter is a couple of the players are getting older, and you end up with injuries to both Pietrangelo and McNabb. So it's hard to really say, is that age, is that whatever, was that the injury? I don't know. I'm okay there. But they weren't as good all season long. McNabb had a great season. McNabb did have a great season. Disappointing that he gets the injury and goes out the way he did. Pietrangelo did not have a great season. Pietrangelo had a pretty good game today. Pietrangelo was pretty good in this series, actually, really. Played a shit ton of minutes. He was pretty good. So to me, you have to look at Noah Hannafin. You were the guy that came in that was supposed to take this team to the next level with puck moving. Take this team to the next level with generating offense from the blue line. Innocuous. Nothing to be seen in the entire postseason. Excellent game 4 defensively. Solid game 5 defensively. Okay, but not enough. Not enough offense. It's not there. And if we're going to spend all of this money to have all of these offensive-minded defensemen, you've got to get something out of that. Because that group, all of that, is why they were weak on the wings, is why they had to go out and buy Brandon Saad after he was cut from his own team that got eliminated in the first round. We don't need Brandon Saad. He's not good enough. Vegas is like, no, second line, in the lineup, let's go. That's where we were. Had to scrape back on Riley Smith, who was great, who was excellent. But you had to find the Riley Smith. And then they ended up at this deadline unable to do anything larger, even though those larger pieces were potentially there. Mikko Rantanen was potentially there. Brad Marchand was potentially there. They don't have the assets to make that swing because of all the things that they have done in the past to put them in the position that they have gotten to. The problem is, this was a cup window. The cup window is here. We said it before the season. We've been saying it all season long. This is a team that had to find a way. Now that they haven't, the cup window, now we have to ask, how much further can it advance out? How much longer can you go with Pietrangelo and McNabb and Stone and Carlson and Smith, right? Because Theodore and Eichel and Hannafin and to a degree Hurdle, even though he looked old in this particular season, to a degree those players are the next portion of the core, but we know that there's nothing underneath it in the organization. There's Trevor Connolly, who is a lottery ticket. Hopefully, looks like a good lottery ticket. Maybe we got 3 of the 5 numbers, but we still need more, right? So this team was in the window. And for me, the focus all season was just to do whatever was possibly all right to help now and the future. There was no selling out to win it this year. There was no, and it goes back to Marchessault. Like, it's that simple. And I know Christians in the chat telling people that Marchessault didn't matter. That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The man won the Conn Smythe. And the reason why the man won the Conn Smythe was because he had the answer to Stuart Skinner. He could beat Stuart Skinner. No one on this team could beat Stuart Skinner. 127 minutes consecutive of not scoring against a goalie who had a 5.88 goals against average against the LA Kings. No goals. And it's not even because he suddenly started playing well. It's not. The Golden Knights did not generate enough. They did not give themselves enough opportunities. There were not enough rolls of the dice to give yourself chances to beat a good goalie. That did not happen in this game. And partially that's because the data said this guy is not going to be good enough when he's 38. I don't care. I don't care. No one cared how good Alex Pietrangelo was going to be at 37 when you signed him 6 years ago, because we want the cup now, and he ended up getting it. He was needed in this series. At the very least, more offense was needed. It's tricky because you're going to look back on the season and say, third highest scoring team in the league. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But a lot of these players scored at levels that, quite frankly, aren't going to happen again. Brett Howden's probably never going to score that many again. And he proved it to all of you and me and himself, apparently, by signing a contract that's closer to a 7-goal-a-season scorer. And what was he in the playoffs? That's what he was. Pavel Dorofeev, first opportunity in the postseason. Better tonight. Don't get me wrong, better tonight. But that's not going to happen. You're not getting 2 goals a series out of Pavel Dorofeev. It's not going to happen. But that's what it was. That's what this team called for. That's what this team needed. Right? That's what was in front of them. Because to beat the Edmonton Oilers, you've got to score. And sure, yes, Pavel has room to grow. Pavel can potentially get better. Pavel would have been on the team anyway. There's no one in the world that would have got rid of Pavel anyway. The decision was not, do we keep getting more scoring or do we get Pavel? No, the plan was, we think we need Tomas Hertl and we need Noah Hannafin. And in turn, we also need to spend a long-term contract on Adin Hill. Do I think Adin Hill lost them this series? I do not. Do I think Adin Hill had a terrible postseason? I do not. Do I think Adin Hill helped them win a postseason series? I do not. Am I sure that Adin Hill is the guy that is going to be able to take this team in a series in which they are not better than the other team and win the series? I do not. I do not. So to sign him to that level of contract instead of someone else, instead of going down the road of keeping a player who potentially could have scored in this series, was an error. Was an error. That's where I'm at. Also, yeah, everyone wants to talk about Logan Thompson. I said it the day they traded him. I asked him to his face, Logan, did you demand a trade out of here? He basically said yes. Then a little bit later, he confirmed it was indeed yes. The answer was simple. If Logan Thompson came to the Golden Knights and said, I would like a trade, the answer is simple. No, you cannot have one. No, there will be no trade. You are making less than the minimum salary in the NHL. You were undrafted. You were not on a roster. We gave you your chance. You are here in the NHL because of this organization. You signed that contract. No, there will be no trade. You may leave at the end of this season if you so choose, or we may sign you to a longer deal. And then they would have had a different option. And does it look different? I don't know. I don't know. Do I think goalie was the problem? I do not. Do I think goalie could have been better in the series? I do. Do I think it's possible that if they were in this situation, they could have potentially had Logan Thompson for the future for $2.5 million? I know he signed 6, but that's because he was in a Vezina, having a Vezina level season. Wouldn't have happened here. Just wouldn't have happened here. No, they decided Adin Hill was the guy. They gave Adin Hill the opportunity, and Adin Hill ran with it, got himself this big contract, and then did not play up to it in the postseason in the first year prior to the contract. He's got 6 more to do it. I'm not saying the Adin Hill contract is crap. It's not. It might turn out that way, but it's not at this moment. But he wasn't good enough to help them overcome a team that's very good in Edmonton. He did not do what we said before the series. One of the biggest places, no one debated it. At least no one knew what they were talking about. No one debated it. Vegas is better in goal. Didn't happen. Did not happen. And because of it, they lose in 5 games. So that's where I'm at. This Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. I've been yelling for quite a while. I will probably continue to yell as we move on. All Periscopes are brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. The Jimmerson Law Firm is one of Las Vegas's preeminent law firms specializing in high-stakes business, civil, and family litigation. When winning matters, seek out the Jimmerson Law Firm. Let me take this one. I don't think Aiden Hill makes Win You Series money. Okay, then why are you paying him anything? If that's the plan, why pay $6.5 million? Doesn't make sense to me. If you think goaltender isn't going to matter, which many of the fans do believe, or at least believe that Akira Schmid or Samsonov could have done better, then he shouldn't be getting that. Pay extra money to the defense. Pay extra money to the wings. Find other players that can penalty kill, can do these things. No, they paid him enough. He got enough that he's in a position that he can do the job, and he will do the job, and he can, at the very least, he is getting paid better than Stuart Skinner money. He's getting paid better than Calvin Pickard money. He's arguably getting paid better than Philip Gustafson money. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. Okay? There's time for him to change. He is a huge part of this banner right there, so I'm not taking it away. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just telling you that over the summer, a decision was made to go one way instead of the other. And that led to different opportunities, led to different things. Now, the bigger picture of the organization moving forward. This season, after an offseason of departures, where all sorts of players left, guys with their names on the cup, guy with a name on a Conn Smythe, guy that probably should have had his jersey number retired. That's not going to end up happening. Probably should have a statue out in front. Also not going to end up happening. All of that occurs. But then once the season began, you had a team that had a pretty good start, that stayed in the postseason run, stayed in front of the division for a majority of the season, felt like they were doing a lot of good things, albeit me telling you that all they could beat were backup goalies, me telling you that when they played good teams, they struggled a little bit, me telling you that being a one-line team and power play driven is going to really be a challenge in the postseason. Once that all occurred, then they started saying, this is it. This is the team. Everybody can be locked up. Goalie, Theodore, McNabb, Kolazar, Howden, everybody, lock them up. Lock the team up. And you are left with a team that's going to be very similar. Now, they can get better. They can get better. And they probably will get better, which is good, which is going to put you in a position to give this another go again next year, assuming everyone stays in place and there is no regression. There can't be regression from Pavel Dorofiev's 35 goals. There can't be regression from Brett Howden's 25 goals, from Tomas Hertl's 32 goals, from Jack Eichel's 90 points or whatever it was. There can't be that regression because all that occurred, and it's 5 games to Edmonton, who, again, I don't think are winning the Cup. I don't think are winning the Western Conference. I don't think was a top 4 team. I believe they were third. They are behind. I believe they are behind. They might be, well, I don't know where the Kings, whatever. They beat the Kings. Colorado. I think Winnipeg's better. I think Dallas is better. Other side, I don't know yet. I don't watch enough of that yet. We'll get there. But the plan was, this is the team. This is the defense. 7 defensemen are locked up for extended periods of time. 7. That includes Korczak. That includes Hutton. That does not include Nick Hague. Does the team get better if left-handed Nick Hague goes away and right-handed Caden Korczak steps in? I don't know about that. Do they get worse? I don't know about that. But they get less deep. Is that the word I'm trying to say? Thinner shallower, that happens. It will allow a bit more money to spend on something else, sure. Now, up front, can you find more wingers? Can you find the difference-making type of players? Yeah. You want Nick Ehlers? That's all your money. It's the same team with Nick Ehlers. Do the Golden Knights win this series with Nick Ehlers? No. No. Do they win it with Mikko Rantanen? Probably. But would have had to send somebody else out to get Mikko Rantanen. And the prospect cost plus whatever the cost would have been a different looking team. But the plan with this team, the way that it's set up, is it's going to be similar. It will look similar. Oh, Brad Marchand. Yeah, he's not super old and wanting to go back to Boston. Okay, maybe. But again, I don't think they win this series with Brad Marchand. Either way, they are going to get better. They're going to do more. They're going to put themselves in a position to be a better team on paper tomorrow, not tomorrow, July 3rd, whatever, at the very least, October 8th, at the very, 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 very least, March 10th deadline of next season. By the time we're playing the most important games next season, in theory, from where we are today, we should have a good situation to be better. Mitch Marner is going to be very, very difficult to make happen. They have, yes, $10 million or so, but they have to fill a few different roster spots. They are more likely in the $6.5 to $7 million range. That's not enough for Mitch Marner. Not to mention, Mitch Marner is going to want a massive contract. You're then going to have to put the Eichel massive contract. You're locked into a team that we'll see. Thank you, Sean, for this. I wouldn't take Zegras if it was a negative on the salary cap. People don't know my opinion on Trevor Zegras. That is my opinion on Trevor Zegras. I believe he makes the team worse. I believe Trevor Zegras is bad at hockey in regards to winning hockey. I think he's good at fun shit. I have zero interest in Trevor in Zegras. Trevor, yeah. So you have the ability to make your team better. However, a lot of the positions in the roster, a lot of the minutes in the roster, specifically on defense, are not going to change. They can shift a little bit, but do you think this time next year, Zach Whitecloud's going to be playing more than Noah Hannafin? I don't. So you bring in other players, but you're still going to be heavily reliant on Eichel, heavily reliant on Carlson, heavily reliant on Hurdle, heavily reliant on Mark Stone. How's that going to look? Couldn't make it through this season either. That's probably harsh. I get it. That's probably harsh. Now they're lowering the thing and you can't even see the banner behind me. Great night we're having. Terrific. So that's where we're looking moving forward. We will have plenty of time to talk about this. I believe they will be active on July 1st. I believe they will be active over the offseason. I believe it's possible that roster players currently on the team that are under contract for even longer periods of time could potentially be on other teams by the time we drop the puck here in October, the next time we do. I think that's possible because the simple fact of the matter is you were not better than Edmonton. You do not know if you were better than LA. You almost certainly were not better than Dallas. You do not know if you were better than a number of the teams on the other side in the West. All of that, I think, is clear. So to make your roster better, it can't just be a little bit better. That's what was so crazy about all the decisions that were made during the season. All of the ones that were signed, all of these moves to keep all these guys here, to lock all these guys up, to get long-term deals on all these different players, the team had to be good enough for it to be worthwhile. We needed to be either there or right there. I don't know that that's what we're going to walk away from this season with. Were they right there? I don't know. Series was closer with Minnesota than it was with Edmonton, both on the ice, in my opinion, and certainly on the scoreboard. The Golden Knights got outscored by Minnesota. The Golden Knights lost games here. The Golden Knights won overtime games multiple times in that series. The Golden Knights had a game where they probably would have lost and gone down in the series. Would have been 3-1, right? I think that's right. I can't remember now. Yeah, 3-1 or 2. I don't know. Either way. whatever it would have been if Ryan Hartman and his goal counts if Gus Nyquist isn't offside by this much. That's the margins in the playoffs. I get that. But if you're telling me there's a scale of Edmonton Oilers on one spot and Minnesota Wild on the other spot, who were well under the salary cap and coming back having a lot of banged up players that all of a sudden needed to all play, if that's the scale, Vegas is closer to the Minnesota side than they are the Edmonton side. That sucks. That sucks when you consider your entire D-core's locked up, your goalie's locked up, and every single important offensive player outside of potentially one that you can add in is locked up. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's how we're going to enter into this offseason. There is no draft pick. There is no first-round draft pick again. There is no first-round draft pick the next summer again. The first-round draft pick that's in the mix, he signed the contract. Maybe. That would help. That would be terrific. I'd love to see that. Is that likely? It's not. Are there any other players that are going to make an impact? I don't think so. I really don't. You've got to make decisions on Smith. He's going to want some sort of money there after the postseason he had. You're going to have to make some decisions on Saad. You're going to have to make a decision on Haig. You're going to have to make a decision on Olofsson and find ways to find different players. And it all of it has to come from outside. All of it. Like Cole Schwindt, I love Cole Schwindt, the guy. It's not going to make a difference. Cole Schwindt's not going to push the needle. You're not going to get better seasons from literally anyone. I can't think of William Karlsson, maybe. I guess all of Riley Smith. Okay, maybe. But most of the guys at the top, Hurdle, Eichel, Stone, Barbashev, Wah, maybe Wah, you can get a little better. Howden, Kolazar, you're not getting better seasons out of any of them. Could you get more offensively out of the defensemen? Yeah, maybe. But then are you more of an up and down team? And does that fit the head coach? By the way, anyone who wants to talk even for a second about getting rid of the head coach, stop. It's stupid. No, absolutely not. If they fire the head coach, it will be the single worst decision the franchise has ever made. And I have told you about many terrible decisions. Firing Bruce Cassidy would be moronic, would be idiotic, and would be horrific. Do not. I sound like Jackie Childs there for a second. No thoughts about it. Because if he goes, he's immediately on another team in this division beating you later. No. Not even a thought. Not for a second. Absolutely not. I got asked that question a couple of times over the summer. Vegas fans have not been doing that. They have not. Again, the team is in a position where they are better than lots of teams in the NHL. Lots. They are better than almost everybody in the division and most of the teams in the conference. Okay? This is not the end of the window. This is not this team suddenly sucks. This is not we can't beat Edmonton ever. It's not any of that. But it is improvement needed. Must get better. Where this team's roster is today compared to where it was when they went into the postseason in 2024, the year that they did not win last year, it is worse. And I can argue a bundle worse. This team was not as good as the 2023 roster. This team was not as good as the 2024 roster. This team maybe was better than the 2018 roster. It was not, in my opinion, better than the 2019 roster that lost in the first round. 2020, 2021, that's about where we were. Those teams struggled to score, flailed out in the playoffs. That's where I'm at. Where does it go moving forward? That's what we're going to find out. If anybody has questions about this game, the season, whatever you end up wanting to ask me, go ahead and put it in the chat now. I will try to take those. While I do that, while I wait for some of those, I will tell you that this Periscope is brought to you by the Jimmerson Law Firm. They sponsored every single Periscope all season and have for multiple seasons. So shout out to them for being one of the best sponsors we have had, one of the longest running sponsors we have had, along with William Hill. William Hill has been with us for 10 years now. Unbelievable. Love William Hill. .vegas has been an awesome sponsor all season long. Vegas Night and Day Heating and Cooling sent me on the road all season long, all postseason for the third postseason in a row. Adam Kuttner's gave away a shit ton of playoff or power play tickets this year. Awesome from them. Giordano's hosting us all season long. Great stuff from them. We got great sponsors. I've given away a ton of shit in Scriptographs, Sportstown, you name it. Great sponsors that we have. And they all, I very, very, very much appreciate the fact that I'm able to do this because of two things. I'm sorry, let me take a drink. There's two reasons I get to do this. One, because of everyone listening to this, because of all the different people around the country, around the world that are listening to me, that care about what I have to say about this team, what I view this team, what my style of honesty talking about this team. All of you make it possible for me to have this job. That's the only reason. And then because sponsors are here and you guys take care of my sponsors, sponsors take care of me. Just that. Thank you very, very much to everybody. Again, I try to say this every single year. I probably should say it more. I will try to say it more moving forward. What's one bold prediction you'd like them to make in the offseason? So I think the best way to go about the offseason, looking at it today, that can very well change because things can potentially happen between now and then with new coaches, with teams struggling in the playoffs that maybe didn't think they were going to with different reasons. At the moment, I think you want to find 3 players who can make a difference rather than going all in on one. I think they're better off trying to find multiple players that can make them a little bit better. Who those players are, you're going to have to give me time. I don't really dive into free agents until the season's over. The season is now over. We can start doing that. We will do that. I will get that answer as we move forward. But just the simple standard idea is for now, like a couple $3 million players, $4 million players, get better at the spots that you need to get better at, and then hope everything else stays in place. Does this make you question the offseason moves and the deadline moves? Offseason moves I've been questioning all season long. Scoring got proven to be there for a good portion of the regular season. Scoring died off in the postseason. Yes, I question that. I will always, there will never be a day, no matter what happens. They can win the next 4 Stanley Cups. I will never, ever tell you that letting Jonathan Marchessault walk away and go to Nashville was correct. It was not. It is a horrible decision. It will always be a horrible decision. It went beyond hockey, and now it went to hockey. He scores in this series. He does not get shut out in this series. I promise you. Doesn't happen. Should have been on this team. They should have put more into the cup window now than worrying about what it looks like when he's 38. There's ways to fix that problem. They've done it many times. Do you agree that priority number 1 should be extend number 9? I do not believe that is priority number 1. I believe that will take care of itself, no problem. I think that as long as you're willing to offer him the amount that he deserves, which is probably going to be $13 million for 8 years or somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe you get a slight hometown discount because you don't have tax in Nevada, maybe. But it's going to be a big number. But to me, it comes down to whether the Golden Knights want to do it. If the Golden Knights want to offer him the correct something close to market value, he will sign it. It's going to happen. He doesn't want to leave. This is a great place to play. This is a great situation for him. They gave him his renewal. He's going to want to stay. If it happens on July 1st, if it happens in the middle of the season, if it has to happen all the way till the end of next season, I would probably rather not do that, but it doesn't matter to me. He will sign the contract as long as the Golden Knights decide that they want him here. They are going to have to make a decision, though, that they want Jack Eichel here when he's 37. 38. I think he does turn into 38. They're going to have to make that call because I don't think he's doing it for less. I wouldn't if I were him. No way. So they're going to have to do that. I guess that's priority, is making that decision. But once you've made that decision, once you're on board for that decision, it'll be fine. Will we know injuries with exit interviews? I don't know. This team has gone both ways. Sometimes they've come out and told us. Sometimes they haven't. I've been told that Braden McNabb's was a shoulder. That doesn't surprise me. I was told that Brandon Saad had a broken ankle. I don't know. We'll see if that ends up being the case. This doesn't matter anymore. That's why I'm sharing it. I was told that Petrangelo's is also a shoulder. We'll see. I don't know what's going on with Stone. I don't know how banged up all the other guys were. Sometimes teams walk out of the season and say, we're not telling anybody. We don't want to make the excuses. We don't want woe is me. And they take the tough guy mentality. I could see this team doing it. I could also see this team coming out and making excuses for why they didn't win the cup. And that would involve telling us all the injuries. I could see it either way. Barbashev wasn't good enough. That's all I have to say about that in regards to the postseason. He had a great start to the season. He got injured. He was never good enough after that. Was the injury a lingering effect? Can he be better next season? Maybe. But this is a guy that is supposed to be a dominant player in the postseason. And the fact of the matter is, before he got here, he was not. When he got here, he was for the 2023 run. In 2024, he was not. In 2025, he was not. So you tell me which one's the outlier. Had to be better. Trade a first-round pick, re-sign with a long-term contract, prioritize him over other people. You got to be better. I can't have pointless in a playoff series against Edmonton. I can't have it. It's not good enough. Why couldn't we get pucks through the middle? Partially because they didn't have enough time in the offensive zone. One of the best ways to get pucks to the middle is to hold the puck in the offensive zone, stretch the defense out, force them to make decisions that they don't want to make, and then find it there. Secondly, I don't think that they were an interior team all season long. I think they were a pass-first team. I think they tried to make plays in the offensive zone, and it worked against shitty teams, and it didn't work as well against good teams. Got to the playoffs, played some good teams. It came back to bite them. Didn't deliver enough pucks to the goal. I think part of that was fear of getting them blocked out high, fear of not being able to crash down underneath, because if they kick it out, they're going to have transition chances, can't afford 3-on-2s. This is a team that's difficult to do that against. They played a good series. Edmonton played a good series. Who do you keep next year on the team? Most of the players. Like almost everyone. I think there could potentially be changes in regards to like Pearson, Saad, Olofsson, Smith. Like I think maybe only one or two of those might stick around. I could see Haig finding another place because he's an RFA, potentially can get money somewhere else. That's that. Want to talk about 81 at length? I do not at the moment. I think everyone knows my point. I will continue to do it. It's going to be a huge point moving forward. I do not have any free agency wingers that I am interested in yet because I quite frankly have not looked at it. I do not like to spend time looking at the future when the present is still in front of us. I just won't do it. For every second that I could be looking at free agency, I could be watching these games and telling you more about the games that are in front of us. That's the decision that I make every single year. I have absolutely no idea at this moment. I hope that I have more information moving forward. I will have more information well before July 1st. I promise you that. We always do. What do you think the top line looks like next game, season 1, or game 1? I think Eichel and Stone are going to be on the top line. I think it's going to be somebody different than Barbashev. I think it's probably going to be somebody from the outside. That's the plan. That's what I think they've got to find. Is Eichel and Stone the best answer? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sold on that. I wasn't sold on it all year. We got to the playoffs. It didn't work against Minnesota. It didn't work against Edmonton. I'm not sold on it. But I think that's where we're going to go. I think that's where it's going to head. Does Vegas have any trade bait? No. I mean, not really. Like, maybe Connolly. I don't know that they want to trade that. Maybe the goalie, Lindbaum. Not really. I don't think anybody's paying all that much for him. Could you look at Haig, pre-contract? Maybe. Could you look at Barbashev and having it, maybe he has more value to somebody else if he's not going to work out as much here, even though he did in the beginning of the regular season? Maybe. I don't think they're going to make a huge trade. I just don't. Do you feel they needed to be better at face-offs? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Face-offs do not matter overall. Individual face-offs matter in some moments. They have players that can win them. Tomas Hertl can win a face-off when you need one. William Karlsson can win a face-off when you need one. Jack Eichel, not particularly good at it, but that's okay. No, I have put zero, none, if any focus is brought towards face-offs in this summer, a massive mistake has been made. No. Would love Sam Bennett, would be surprised if we can get Sam Bennett. What's the top agenda for the offseason? Wingers. Wingers that can score, wingers that can kill, wingers that will not get shut down by Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner. What else do we have? Thank you for this. Appreciate it. Why do you believe the Wild and Oilers had so much success keeping our offense to the perimeter? Because the wingers aren't good enough. Weren't good enough. And the centers, the three centers, aren't scorers. They're not goal scorers. So you need wingers that can score. Brett Howden's not it. Pavel Dorofeev in the playoffs in his first postseason isn't it. I don't know if he'll be it down the stretch. I don't know. I can go both ways on that. I can make the argument either way. And for those of you that told me that Pavel Dorofeev should not be traded for Jonathan Marchessault in this postseason, well, you got your answer now. Pretty clearly, Jonathan Marchessault would have been better. Also, Jonathan Marchessault never gets hurt. Who do you think is gone of Smith, Saad, Samsonov, Olofsson, Haig? Samsonov's gone. Saad, I believe, will find a better deal with someone else. I think the only reason why he got out of St. Louis was to put himself in a position where he was going to be able to get a better deal, which indicates that he does not want the league minimum. He wants more. I think someone will give it to him. I do not believe that will be the Golden Knights. I think Riley Smith will come back at a slightly above, maybe like a double league minimum salary, maybe triple. That's fine for me. I don't want that contract to be longer than a year or two. I want him to be the type of player that you give him 1-year contracts until he's not good anymore. Riley, you're on this team until you're not good anymore. As long as you play well, you will have another contract waiting for you every single time. That's how it should have worked with Jonathan Marchessault. That's how it should work with Riley Smith. That's how it should have worked at the end with Mark Stone. That's how it should work at the end with Braden McNabb. That's how it should have worked at the end with Jack Eichel. Instead, you get the cutthroat style. You tell Jonathan Marchessault you want deferred payments and that the data doesn't support bringing him back, and he winds up somewhere else. Chandler Stevenson winds up somewhere else. Will Carrier winds up somewhere else. Michael Amadio winds up somewhere else. Logan Thompson wants the fuck out. That's it. Is this the end of Kelly McCrimmon? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not a chance. Not a chance. Nor should it be. They won the division. They're a good team. They're close. He's built it to this. He's put them in the position where they don't have a ton of assets, but they do have some cap space. Let him do his thing. If it fails from here, we can start having that discussion. But 7 times out of 8 in the playoffs, 4 times winning the division, all these times in the Western Conference Final, no, that's stupid. Not going to find someone better than him at this point. Not a chance. Who is a scorer we can sign? I don't know. I don't know yet. Do you think priority no? Oh, I already did that one. Holy shit. How did that happen? All right. Let's see. I'll see if I can get any more at the bottom here. What did you say to fire up Wah tonight? Me? I had a nice chat with Wah this morning. He was good. He was really good tonight. Not a scorer. Not going to finish chances for you. So that's it. Thank you for doing these live feeds. I love having your commentary and answering your questions. You make local community stronger. Thank you, William. Much appreciated. Thank you for everybody that watches these. Thank you for everybody that listens to these, interacts with me, supports my sponsors. It's why I get to do this. It's why we're going on 10 years. It's why I'm able to travel all of the road games. No one's doing that. Like the RJ was the only other one who went. That's because of you guys. The fans that support me, the fans that watch all these, that support my sponsors, that engage in our stuff, that buy products from the places that we put out, that do the things that allow me to do this, have put me in a position where I'm able to do things that the Athletic are not doing, that the TV stations around are not doing, that the Las Vegas Sun is not doing, that no other independent website in this city or in most cities are doing. That many of these things are falling apart. We're not. We're thriving. We're going the other way. And that's because this fan base is great. This fan base is awesome. This fan base was jacked up here. You're jacked up outside. You're as engaged. I love it. I love it. This fan base is great. Yeah, I get mad at you sometimes. That's how it's going to go. But that's that. Do I think they'll be bringing in a goalie from the outside? I do. I think they are going to give Akira Schmid an opportunity to be the backup. But I do not believe Akira Schmid's season will be strong enough when they do their final season review to make the decision that he is our clear backup. So I think the decision will be, do we find someone else? I think someone like, you guys are going to hate me, but like a Georgiev is a type of guy that they could be looking at. Someone who's been a backup somewhere else, Dan Vladar, whatever. They're looking for a backup. They're not looking for a starter. How close is Vegas to losing the division? In the regular season, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. In the postseason, they did it. They lost it. You can argue they finished third. I don't know how it would have gone against the Kings. I don't know that I would have picked Vegas. I liked the matchup against Edmonton because I thought their goalies were shit and I thought their defense couldn't stop anyone. That wasn't the case. I have no idea what Nashville's going to do. What a mess. I don't know. What does the Golden Knights prospect pool look like? Very simple. Trevor Connolly, good. Carl Lindbaum, maybe good. Probably still multiple years away. Everyone else, bad. I don't think there's another NHL player in there. Bad. So, not good. Would I want Marner? Of course. Are we going to get Marner? Probably not. I think that's all I got. All right. Thanks again to the Jimmerson Law Firm. Thanks to every single fan who's watched me all season long, listened to me all season long, interacted with me on Twitter, on Facebook, in Discord. The Discord is awesome. The Discord is such a cool place to be. The community that's been built in there is awesome. It's like the living, breathing portion of the SinBin community, which is so cool to be around and get to interact with at any point. I'm so happy that everyone's around. I'm so happy that this fan base is as aggressively excited and angry and everything that goes with it. SinBin does not stop when the season ends. We will not stop. We are not going to ever stop. I plan on retiring. I'm 36. I plan on doing this until I can no longer breathe. So you've got me for a long time more. I will not stop. I do not stop in the summer. We do not. We will continue with Periscopes anytime anything interesting happens. We will continue with podcasts pretty much bi-weekly. It might fall to like tri-weekly during the summer because it's a little bit longer of a summer now that we're in out in round 2. So we got like an extra 2 weeks. Maybe we'll go every third week. Articles are coming every single day except Sunday. There will be something new, always new content, always. If you want to ask me questions, bring it on Twitter, on Subtext. If you're part of our Subtext community, join subtext.com/SinBin. Please bring those there. I'm always going to be here. The thing I care most about, the thing I have the most fun doing is talking about Golden Knights hockey with people that care. It's my favorite thing. It's the best. I have the best job in the world because so many people are willing to do it. So I'm so excited about the fact that we can continue to do this. I will continue to do this over this summer, and we will talk more with the next couple of days. There will be locker cleanout day. We're going to try and do a podcast probably on Monday. That's usually what we lean for, that has all the information about locker cleanout. It'll probably be a long one because Jason and I are probably going to yell at each other about Marchessault in the future. So that one's going to be fun. Then we'll get into the summer. July 1st is not that far away. Schedule release is not that far away. The draft is kind of useless for us. But all of this moving forward, it's going to be fun. We're going to have a fun offseason. The Golden Knights do have a lot of money. They do have an opportunity to make this team better. I believe that the team will be made better as we move forward. That's all I got for tonight. Signing off on Season 8. or at least the hockey part of season 8. It sucks. This time sucks every single time. I hate it. I hate that the season has to end because I know that the next time we get to see a hockey game and the next time we get to talk about forecheck and wingers not being good enough and all of that is October. It's May. It sucks. That's just the deal with sports. We'll be on season 9. SinBin's 10th birthday is in August. That's pretty fun. I don't know. We'll do something with that. Maybe we'll sell gear. I don't know. Thanks again to the Jimmerson Law Firm. Thanks to all of our sponsors all season. And thanks to all of you. That's it. Good night.